Hello and welcome to English Spark Official. I'm Zayden, joined as always by Alara.
Hey everyone! We're so excited about today's topic.
You know that exact English word you want to say. Like you've practiced it 100 times in your head.
Oh, yeah. You might have even written it down in a notebook.
Exactly. But the second you are in a real conversation...
So your boss asks you a sudden question.
Right. Or you're just trying to order coffee in a really loud, crowded cafe. Your mouth just freezes.
It completely locks up.
The word is just gone.
Okay.
And instead of sounding like the competent, intelligent professional you are, you hesitate, you stumble.
It's such a frustrating universal experience. And, people almost always blame their memory.
They think, oh, I just don't know enough vocabulary.
Exactly. But what's actually happening in those moments is, well, it's a biological lockdown.
And that is exactly what we are going to figure out how to hack today. Welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Our mission today is to explore a really fascinating concept from English Spark Official. It's called the stuttering solution, cortical priming for smooth speech.
It's a great piece of source material.
It really is. And I want to be very clear about our approach today. We know that listening to English content can sometimes feel, well, overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely. People speak incredibly fast.
They use obscure slang, and suddenly you're completely lost.
Which is exactly what triggers that brain lockdown we just mentioned.
Right. So we're doing things differently today. This deep dive is tailored specifically for you, the learner.
Specially designed to just be easy to understand.
Exactly. Maybe you are at an A2 level, or maybe you just want to, build a rock-solid foundation. We are keeping the language clear.
Smooth and accessible.
But make no mistake, we're treating you like the highly capable adult you are. We're removing the unnecessary linguistic obstacles.
Taking away the heavy lifting so we can actually look at the biology and the psychology.
Exactly. The real reasons why we stutter in a second language.
Because it's really all about reducing the cognitive load. We're going to explore not just what to practice, but the underlying mechanics of why it works.
We need to look at the brain.
We do. We really do.
So let's unpack this. Let's start with the problem. When we say stuttering here, we aren't talking about like a medical speech impediment, right?
No, not at all.
We're talking about that hesitation, that feeling when your brain just freezes and the English words won't come out.
The engine stalls. You live in an English-speaking country, or you work for an international company, the pressure is on, and nothing.
Right. So the big question is, if the English words are already in my head, why does my brain lock the door to that vocabulary exactly when I need it most?
Well, to understand that, you really have to understand how your brain perceives stress.
Okay, lay it on me.
So when you are in a high-pressure situation, say, 20 people are looking at you in a meeting room, waiting for an update in English.
Terrifying.
Right. Your amygdala activated.
Like amygdala. That's
the fear center of your brain, yeah. And here's the crazy part. Your brain does not know the difference between the social pressure of a meeting and the physical danger of being chased by a predator.
Wait, really? It thinks the boss asking for a project update is a literal tiger.
It literally thinks there is a tiger in the room. It just senses a threat.
Wow. Okay, so what happens then?
Well, when the brain thinks a tiger is attacking, it initiates that classic fight-or-flight response.
Right, survival mode.
Exactly. It pulls energy and resources away from higher-level cognitive functions, like, processing a second language.
Because who needs to speak English when you're running for your life?
Precisely.
Yeah.
It pushes all that energy towards survival mechanisms. So the language center of your brain, which is located in the cortex, it's literally starved of the resources it needs to function smoothly.
So that is why you stutter.
Yep. You aren't forgetting the word. Your brain just thinks it's a complete waste of energy to retrieve it while a tiger is attacking.
I mean, that is incredibly validating. It's not a lack of intelligence at all.
Not even a little bit.
It's a biological survival mechanism it's firing at the wrong time.
Exactly.
So if the brain is locking us out because it feels unsafe, how do we hack that security system?
How do we turn it off?
Yeah. How do we prove to our own cortex that we aren't in danger?
Well, that brings us to the core concept from the English Spark official method.
Cortical priming.
Cortical priming. Now, I know it sounds like a highly technical medical term, but the mechanism behind it is incredibly simple and practical.
Break it down for us.
Sure. So the cortex is the outer layer of your brain, right? It's responsible for complex thought, memory, and, crucially for us, language.
Okay.
And priming is really just the act of preparing that area.
So we're basically just warming up the brain.
That's exactly it. You are physically sending blood flow and electrical signals to the language centers before you even need them.
Like turning the lights on in that room of the brain?
Yes, you turn the lights on so you don't stumble in the dark when the pressure hits.
Okay, I love that. And the source material mentions a very specific rule for doing this.
The simple to complex approach.
Right. It says that to prime the cortex effectively, you have to start with incredibly simple vocabulary.
Words you already know perfectly.
Right. But I have to push back on this a little bit.
Sure.
Because, if I'm a professional working in an international office, I want to sound smart. I want to sound competent.
Of course you do.
If I only use simple words, won't I just sound like a child? How do we ever learn the hard ones?
It's a really common fear,
Yeah.
but it's based on a total misunderstanding of what fluency actually is.
What do you mean?
Fluency isn't an inventory of complex words you own. It's not about how big your dictionary is.
Okay.
It's a measure of the cognitive load your brain can tolerate.
The cognitive load.
Yeah. Think of it like a computer's RAM. If you try to force a really difficult multi-syllable word into a stressful conversation without warming up.
The computer crashes.
Exactly. The cognitive load spikes. The amygdala sounds the alarm, the tiger is back,
Mm-hmm.
and you stutter.
So a simple, smooth sentence is actually better.
A simple, smooth sentence spoken with confidence will always command more respect than a complex sentence that you stumble through.
Because the stuttering makes you look unsure, even if the vocabulary is technically advanced.
Precisely. The confidence is what people hear.
Okay, so then how do we learn the hard words if we're sticking to the simple ones?
Well, the English Spark Official method has a rule for this. Difficult words must be cushioned by simple definitions, naturally in conversation.
You build a bridge?
You build a bridge. You don't just memorize a flashcard.
Can you walk me through what that bridge actually looks like in a real conversation?
Yeah, let's take the word environment.
Okay, environment.
For an A2 learner, that could be a pretty heavy word. It's 4 syllables. Environment.
It's a lot to process.
It is. And if you try to pull that out of thin air while you're nervous, you might trip over it. So we prime the brain by instantly attaching it to simple concepts.
How do we do that?
You might practice saying, I like this environment, the places and the people around me.
Ah, the places and the people.
Exactly.
Those are foundational words, like super simple.
Right. So when I say environment, my brain might panic for a microsecond.
But then immediately you say places and people and the brain relaxes.
You're giving your brain a soft pillow to land on. The simple words act as a signal to the amygdala that everything is totally fine.
The cognitive load stays manageable.
Exactly. You're training your neural pathways to associate the complex new word with the safe, familiar words. And over time, the new word becomes safe too.
That is brilliant. Because it removes the pressure of needing a dictionary. You become your own dictionary in real time.
You do.
Okay, so cortical priming is the theory. It's turning the lights on in the language center by using simple, safe vocabulary.
You prevent the brain's alarm system from going off.
Right. But let's get really practical for the listener. How do we physically do this? How do we build these safe neural pathways?
This brings us to the core active practice in the methodology.
Which is
Shadowing.
shadowing practice. Now wait, shadowing?
Yeah.
Just listening to a sentence and repeating it out loud. I have to be honest, that sounds exactly like those old language tapes from the 1990s.
The repeat after me tapes.
Yeah. Just sitting there repeating sentences like a parrot. How does mimicking a recording actually help me in an unpredictable, real-life conversation? I can't just repeat what the barista says to me.
It's a totally fair critique if you look at it purely as a memory exercise.
Yeah.
But shadowing is not about memory at all.
It's not.
No. It is about physical motor control.
Motor control. Like muscles.
Yes. Speaking a language is an athletic event for your face and throat.
An athletic event? I've never thought of it like that.
Think about it. Your brain has to coordinate your lungs, your vocal cords, your tongue, your lips, your jaw, all in milliseconds.
So it's not just a mental activity.
Not at all. When you learned your native language, you spent years physically practicing those specific muscle movements.
As a baby, babbling.
Exactly. But English requires completely different muscle shapes.
That's true. The physical shapes are totally different.
Right. So if you just read English in a book, your auditory cortex might understand it, but your motor cortex, the part that actually controls your mouth, has no idea how to physically make the sounds.
So shadowing bridges that gap.
Yes.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's like reading a book about how to ride a bicycle versus actually pedaling the bicycle.
That's a perfect analogy.
You can know the physics perfectly, but if you don't actually get on the bike, you will fall over.
You will crash. Neurologically, what we are talking about here is myelination.
Myelination. Okay, big word alert. Cushion it for us.
I will. When you physically say an English phrase out loud over and over, your brain wraps those specific neural pathways in a fatty substance called myelin.
Oh.
Myelin acts like insulation on an electrical wire. It allows the electrical signal, the command from your brain to your mouth, to travel significantly faster and much more smoothly.
So when I try to translate every word in real time during a conversation, I am trying to build the airplane while I am currently flying it.
Exactly. The neural pathways aren't insulated.
But shadowing gives me an airplane that is already built.
Exactly. You are storing these phrases not as individual words, but as single, complete units of motor function.
A single physical movement.
Yes. If you want to order coffee, you don't want your brain to think. Subject is I, verb is need, object is a coffee.
Right, that cognitive load is way too high.
Too high. You want your mouth to just physically output the single sound unit. I need a coffee.
Okay, let's actually demonstrate this for the listener right now, organically.
Let's do it.
If you are listening to us, you don't need to pause your life, but I want you to notice what happens in your mouth. Let's take a simple daily phrase. Repeat after me. I need a coffee.
Yeah. Notice how the words link together. Native speakers rarely say, I need a coffee.
Right, it's not robotic.
It flows into almost one continuous sound. I need a coffee.
Try saying it out loud right now, listener. I need a coffee. Notice where your tongue is when you say need.
It taps the roof of your mouth.
Right, it taps the roof of your mouth and slides right into the need a coffee.
Let's try another one that requires a very specific physical shape.
Okay.
Imagine you are lost in a new city and you need the train. The phrase is, where is the train?
Oh, that's a good one. The W sound in where is notoriously tricky for many non-native speakers.
Very tricky. It requires you to push your lips forward into a tight circle.
Try it right now, listener. Push your lips forward. Make the physical shape. Where?
Now the whole phrase, where is the train?
Repeat after me. Where is the train? You are literally training the muscles in your jaw, not just the neurons in your head.
It's physical exercise. Let's do one more.
Let's do a workplace one.
Good idea. You need to interrupt a coworker politely. The phrase is, do you have a minute?
Again, listen to the linkage there. Do you becomes a single physical movement. Do you?
Do you?
Try saying that. Do you have a minute? Repeat after me. Do you have a minute?
By doing this out loud, the listener is actively myelinating their neural pathways right now.
They are laying down the insulation.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, when they actually need a minute from their coworker, the mouth already knows the dance.
The brain doesn't have to panic. It's the ultimate defense against the freeze response.
It really is. But, speaking is only half the battle.
It's only half the equation, yeah.
Conversation is a two-way street. And honestly, this is where the real panic sets in.
Oh, definitely.
Because I can practice my phrase perfectly. I can walk up to someone and smoothly say, where is the train? But then they open their mouth to answer, and what comes out is a wall of sound.
The dreaded wall of sound.
They speak at 100 miles an hour, using slang, skipping syllables, and my brain instantly goes back to red alert. The tiger is back.
The wall of sound is terrifying. And the natural instinct when faced with it is exactly what causes the failure.
What's the instinct?
Your instinct is to try and translate every single word they are saying into your native language in real time.
Which is impossible. While I'm translating word number 3, they are already on word number 10.
Right. You fall behind. The cognitive load maxes out.
And because my brain is completely exhausted from trying to decode their sentence, when it's my turn to reply, I have zero mental energy left.
Zero energy left to form your own words. So you stutter.
So what does this all mean for our listener? How does focusing on listening actually help them speak more smoothly?
Well, this is where the source material introduces the listen carefully technique. And it's entirely about changing your goal as a listener.
Changing the goal. Shouldn't the goal be to understand what the person is saying?
Yes, but you don't need to understand every single word to understand the meaning. The technique is about hunting for specific listening-focused cues.
Cues, okay.
It's like trying to navigate in a storm. You don't try to catch every single raindrop. You just use an umbrella and look for the street sign.
Oh, I love that analogy. You ignore all the noise and just hunt for the specific treasure.
Exactly. Let's go back to the train example. When you ask, where is the train? You know the answer will involve a location or a direction.
Right. Left, right, straight.
So you stop trying to translate their entire story about a construction on Fifth Avenue, or how the bus is usually faster.
You just lower your cognitive load, you wait for the words you know.
You just listen for the cues. Left,
Yeah.
straight, 2 blocks.
You filter out the noise. That takes so much pressure off the cortex.
It's active management of your cognitive load.
Let's put this to the test right now. Listener, we are going to do a quick listening experiment.
Yes, I'm going to tell a very short, simple story about a daily routine.
And your job, as the listener, is to use the listen carefully technique. Do not try to memorize the story.
Do not try to translate every word into your native language.
We are going to ask you a question afterward, and you just need to listen for the specific cue that answers it.
All right, here is the story. Listen carefully. Every morning, John wakes up at 7 o'clock. He is always very tired. He goes to the kitchen and makes a large cup of hot tea. He never drinks coffee because it makes his stomach hurt. After his tea, he takes his dog for a walk in the park.
Okay. Now, if you were trying to translate that word for word, you probably got stuck somewhere around stomach hurt.
Probably, yeah.
But let's see if you caught the cues. Ask yourself right now, say it out loud if you can, what time did John wake up?
The cue was right at the beginning, 7 o'clock.
Did you catch it? Here's another one. Listen to your memory of the story. What does John drink in the morning?
You didn't need to understand why he avoids coffee. You just needed the beverage cue. Tea.
Just tea. And finally, say this one out loud. Where does John walk his dog?
The location cue. The park.
How does that feel? If you just waited for the location or the drink, you didn't need to waste mental energy on the word kitchen or tired.
You are in control. You're an active participant scanning for information.
Really, rather than a passive victim being crushed by a wall of sound.
Exactly. This shift in mindset is profound. When you feel in control of your listening, your anxiety drops.
The amygdala stays quiet.
Yes. Your cortex stays primed and fully operational. And because you saved all that mental energy, your spoken response will be perfectly smooth.
All right, we have covered the neurological theory. We've practiced the physical shadowing to build myelin. And we've learned how to manage cognitive load while listening.
Did a lot of great tools.
But practice in a vacuum isn't enough. We need to move this out of the laboratory and into the real world.
Absolutely. This is the ultimate goal of the English Spark Official method. Real-world, practical usage.
We need to see how this methodology holds up in the environments where the pressure is highest.
And there's nowhere with higher pressure than the workplace.
Oh, the stakes are so real. Your boss is evaluating you. Your colleagues are relying on you.
Your professional reputation is constantly on the line.
The fear of sounding incompetent is incredibly high, which, as we now know, triggers the exact biological response that causes stuttering.
So let's systematically deconstruct a few common workplace scenarios for an English-speaking environment. Let's look at the cognitive traps learners fall into and how to use our primed phrases to survive them.
Okay, scenario 1. Let's set the scene. Imagine it is a chaotic Tuesday morning. You're in the office, you have a deadline, and you are desperately looking for a specific blue folder.
Classic scenario.
You cannot find it anywhere. You need to interrupt a colleague to ask for help.
Now, the trap here is overformalizing.
Right, trying to be too polite.
Exactly. In an attempt to sound professional and polite, learners will try to construct massive, complex sentences in their head.
They'll try to say something like, I sincerely apologize for the interruption of your current tasks, but I am experiencing significant difficulties locating the blue document folder.
Just listening to that sentence gives me anxiety.
Right. The cognitive load of trying to perfectly execute that grammar while also stressing about the missing folder is immense.
You are almost guaranteed to stutter on experiencing or locating.
So we strip it down. We use the simple to complex rule. We use the primed, myelinated building blocks.
Let's act out what it should actually sound like.
Okay, I'll be the stressed learner, you be the colleague.
Perfect.
Excuse me, are you busy?
No, not really. What's up?
Could you help me with this? I cannot find the blue folder.
Oh, the blue folder. I think it is on the desk in the meeting room.
The meeting room, thank you so much.
Notice what happened there. You use short, modular phrases that you can practice and shadow easily.
Excuse me, are you busy?
Could you help me with this?
If you are listening, think about how those phrases feel in your mouth. Let's shadow that right now. Repeat after me. Can you help me with this?
Could you help me with this?
It's so smooth. It's polite. It's universally understood, and most importantly, it is neurologically safe.
You don't have to build the airplane in the air, you just deploy the phrase.
By relying on these simple blocks, you completely take the social anxiety out of the interaction. Your brain isn't panicking about grammar.
It's focused on the actual problem of finding the folder.
All right, let's escalate the pressure. Scenario 2. This is the one that gives everyone nightmares.
Oh,
Giving a short update in a formal meeting.
the absolute pressure cooker.
You're sitting around a large conference table. It's quiet. The boss turns to you and says, "Can you give us an update on your project?"
20 pairs of eyes suddenly lock onto you.
The heart rate spikes. The palms start sweating. The amygdala is screaming that you are surrounded by tigers.
So how do we survive this?
Because my instinct, if I am trying to prove I deserve my job, is to use the biggest, most impressive business jargon I can think of.
Right, you want to sound like a CEO.
I want to say the initial phase of the project was successfully executed prior to today, and we anticipate commencing the subsequent phase momentarily.
And if you try to say that while your heart is pounding, the system will overload. You will freeze. You will stutter.
So what's the key realization here?
The realization is that your colleagues and your boss do not care about your vocabulary.
They don't.
They don't.
Yeah.
They care about clarity. They want the information quickly and accurately. A simple, perfectly smooth update is vastly superior to a complex, stuttering mess.
Simplicity is a superpower.
It really is.
Okay, let's act out the simple version. You play the boss.
All right, moving on to the next item. Could you give us an update on your project?
Yes. The project is going well. We finished the first part yesterday. We will start the second part tomorrow. I think we will finish on time.
Thank you. That is great news.
Let's break down the architecture of that update. It feels almost too simple, but it is incredibly effective.
It is effective because it follows a logical, low cognitive load structure.
Break it down.
First, you started with a general status. The project is going well. 6 simple words: subject, verb, adjective. It immediately assures the boss that everything is fine.
Then I gave a past action. We finished the first part yesterday. Clear timeline. No complex perfect tenses needed. Just simple past.
Then a future action. We'll start the second part tomorrow. Simple future.
And finally, a conclusion. I think we will finish on time.
If you shadow those 4 specific sentence structures, you have a template that can survive almost any basic meeting.
You just swap out the nouns and verbs.
Exactly. But the architecture remains the same. You are giving your cortex a predictable, myelinated track to run on, even when the pressure is at its absolute highest.
It is so empowering to realize that you don't have to be a poet. You don't have to be an orator. You just have to manage your cognitive load so you can be understood.
It completely removes the barrier of perfectionism, which is often the biggest psychological hurdle in language learning.
Perfectionism feeds the fear, and the fear is what causes the stutter.
Exactly.
Wow, we have covered so much ground today. Let's pull all these threads together and recap our deep dive into the stuttering solution from English Spark Official.
Let's do it. We started by reframing the problem entirely.
Right. Stuttering in a second language isn't a memory failure. It is a biological freeze response.
The brain perceives social pressure as a threat and shuts down the language center.
And to combat that, we use cortical priming. We literally warm up the neural pathways using the simple to complex approach.
We use safe foundational words to prove to our brain that there is no danger, keeping the cognitive load manageable.
We then explored the physical mechanism of shadowing. It isn't just mimicking a tape.
No, it is building myelin in the brain. It's training the motor cortex and the muscles of the jaw and mouth to execute phrases as single automatic units.
We don't build the airplane in the air. Then we tackled the listening half of the equation by replacing the impossible task of real-time translation with the listen carefully technique.
We ignore the wall of sound and hunt for specific cues, conserving our mental energy for our reply.
And finally, we proved that in high-pressure real-world environments, like a workplace meeting, simplicity is your greatest weapon.
Clear, basic sentence structure spoken smoothly will always outperform complex jargon spoken with hesitation.
As always, we never want to leave you with just theory. Knowledge is only valuable if it changes your behavior. So here is your practical assignment. It is direct, and it requires action.
Tomorrow, we want you to take one concrete step toward myelination.
Tomorrow, when you are walking outside or maybe watching an English video on your phone or sitting at your desk, I want you to try shadowing just one single phrase you hear.
Just one phrase.
Notice the physical movement of your mouth. Prime that cortex. Build that pathway.
It's a small step, but it is the true foundation of fluency.
And as we wrap up today's deep dive, We want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something that hopefully reshapes how you view your entire journey with English.
We spend so much time obsessing over the words we don't know, right?
Oh, totally. We buy dictionaries, we use flashcards, we punish ourselves for forgetting advanced vocabulary.
But what's really fascinating here is that true fluency isn't an inventory of words you own. It isn't a measure of how large your vocabulary is.
What is it then?
Fluency is simply a measure of the cognitive load you can tolerate.
Wow.
It is about how comfortably and confidently your brain can deploy the few, simple words you already know, even when the pressure is on.
You aren't stuttering because you forgot the word. You are stuttering because your brain thinks it is under attack.
Right. If you can learn to prime your brain, to make it feel safe, you unlock everything you have already learned.
Think about that. How much more confident will you be in tomorrow's meeting if you know your brain is a safe place?
You already have the tools inside you. You just need to turn the lights on.
Thank you so much for actively exploring this with us today. Thank you for thinking about the science, for trying the physical exercises out loud, and for being part of this conversation.
Every single time you practice, every time you shadow a phrase, you are physically rewiring your brain for smoother speech.
Keep warming up, keep protecting your cognitive load, and we will see you on the next deep dive.